Hi there, thanks for buying our DIY gnome kit. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make a nice Valentine's Day gnome. So you're going to have all your materials in your kits. You're going to have little elastics, you're going to have string, a beard, your decorative sock, stuffing, etc. So to start, I already did this first step. All you have to do is take the rice that's inside of your bag and put it into a sock. A good way to do this would be to use some type of thing like this. You open your sock, you put that in, and then you pour this rice, or you can just put it scoop by scoop. Anyways, you're gonna end up having rice in a sock just like this. So after you've done this step, it's probably a good idea to turn on your glue gun because it does need some time to heat up. So after you have this done, you're gonna take one clear elastic and you're gonna tie it right around the top right there. 3 or 4 times should work. There you go. So now you have it tied off. All the rice is nice inside your sock. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take a pair of scissors and you're going to cut, leaving maybe just about 1 centimeter or 2 at the top. Some rice may spill out, but that's fine. Just like that. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to take your second elastic and you're going to make a nose. So you want this nose to probably be just around 2 finger lengths underneath, so right about there. So what I'm going to do, and this part is a little bit tricky and it can take you a few times and that's totally fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it where I want it and I'm just going to play around with the rice and I'm going to pinch it into a nose like that. So all I did was 2 fingers right there, pinch and grab. So that's about where I want the nose. So now I'm going to take my elastic. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have to switch off, but I'm going to take my elastic and I'm going to tie it right around the nose, just twice. And there you go. So you have your nose, and you can play around with it a little bit. If there's too much rice, just adjust the elastic. You can do it a few times until you get it how you like it. I like this nose on my gnome, so I'm going to keep it just like that. So now what I'm going to do is, using the string in your kit, which should have already been pre-cut, you're going to take the string and you're going to tie it around the top and you're going to tie it around the nose. You want to do this just in case your elastic happens to snap. You don't want to finish your project and then have everything fall apart. So a double knot on each is perfect. And then cut the string. And then a double knot around the nose. So it's just 1 knot and 2 knots. There you go. I'm going to cut off any little bit of excess. And there you have it. That's your gnome body. So he's not as cute because we're missing the nice decorative sock and the beard. So this sock here, provided in your kit, is going to be the hat as well as the body. So what I like to do is I like to cut right along the heel. If you have a hard time finding the heel in your sock, just fold it in half. And around the area where it bulges out a little bit is the heel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut right in the middle of it. And scissors are sharp, so it's really important that we do this with parent supervision. Same thing with the glue gun. So this is going to be the hat and this is going to be the body. But as you can tell, this gnome is not quite that tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw this on top of the gnome to make its little pajama body, and then we're going to cut around it. So you always want to make sure you're taking the part that already has like pre-made elastic in it. This part is stretchy and firm. This part we just cut. So we want this part to go on the bottom so it stays on the gnome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and I'm going to throw it on top of my gnome. And when you do that, it's going to change the shape of him a little bit, but that's okay. Just play around with it until you get him how you want him. So right now he's hiding because we can't see his nose or anything. So what we're going to do is I can see where the nose points out. So I'm going to put a little cut right under there. Just like that. Just a little snip right under. And so now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut around my gnome. These are not the best scissors. All the way around, coming right back to where that original cut was. So now this part you can just toss, or if you want to use it for another craft activity, go ahead, but we don't need it for this gnome. So now I have my gnome, and it has its little pajamas on. Super cute. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna put that aside because we don't need it right now. But this is what our hat is going to be. So all of the gnomes have a little pom-pom at the top, and that's just the toe of your sock. So for example, in this one, we wanna make sure the pom-pom is just the pink part, or else it'll look a little bit weird with the gray. Any other sock you have, make the pom-pom the shape you want. It's your gnome, you do it how you like. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have some stuffing in your bag. You're gonna take, start with just a little bit at a time. So I'd say around that much, you know, because if you put it into a nice little tight ball, it's not super huge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the stuffing and I'm going to put it in the sock, all the way into the tip there. So when I have my stuffing in the sock, there's still a lot of excess room there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more stuffing. I think that should be a good amount. So what I'm gonna do is with my hand inside the sock, I have my 2 fingers like this and I'm just pushing them up, pushing it up. So I have my hand in the sock, I'm taking my fingers and I'm pushing it, and I'm gonna hold it like this because that's gonna be our pom-pom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another elastic and I'm going to tie off that pom-pom at the top. I recommend just going 2 loops around because you're gonna have to manipulate it a little bit, and if it's too tight, that's gonna be tough. So what I see here is I still have a little bit of pink left over there, and I still have a little bit there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab it, and I'm just gonna try and pull some of the pink back up to the top because I want it to be a part of my pom-pom. I think that looks pretty good. So this part can take a few tries, and you're not in a rush. It's gonna take, I've been doing this for a while, so it's not gonna go as quickly as me. Feel free to pause the video wherever you want, rewind, rewatch, you know, ask questions, anything you need help with. That's what we're here for. So now you have the hat, but if you just stick it on them like that, it's not gonna be very tall and it's not gonna have a lot of volume. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the stuffing that's left over and you're gonna put it inside the hat. It doesn't really matter how you do this, just as long as there's some stuffing inside the hat. Depending on your sock and depending on how you did your gnome, it'll depend how much stuffing. So I often put the hat on, take the hat off as many times as I need to make sure it's perfect. So what I'm gonna do is you can see the heel part of this sock. I'm gonna make sure it goes towards the back. And then I'm gonna take my sock, I'm gonna put it on top of his head. See, I think I can use a little bit more stuffing because there's a lot of empty spaces around here. So I'm gonna take it off and I'm gonna add just a little bit more stuffing. In my opinion, it's better to put more stuffing in the hat than it is into the pom-pom. So if you notice you've run out of stuffing, take some out from here and put it in here. So anyways, I'm gonna put my hat on my gnome again. I think he looks super cute. Aw. All right, so at this time, we don't really need him anymore, so we're gonna put him aside. And now we're gonna want to work with our faux fur beard. That should be provided in your kit. So as you can notice, there's no cut here, so how are we gonna put it on top? We're gonna need to cut a hole into it. This is probably one of the most important steps because if you don't cut this properly, it'll make the beard look a little bit off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it up to the nose, and I can see on the side that it ends right about there. That's how big my nose is. So what I'm gonna do is you can take a pen or you can freehand it, but I'm just gonna draw out a little half circle right there where I want my nose to be. Just like that. I think that should be perfect, going right up there. So now what you're gonna wanna do is only use the very, very tip of your scissors. Because if you do a large cut, you're gonna cut the hair on this side and then it's not gonna look very nice when you're wearing it as a beard. So you're just gonna cut the tip of the scissors right in the back of the fabric. So it's gonna look like this. See how I can do this on camera. Oh boy. So you can take the very tip of your scissors and do little teeny tiny cuts. Just the back. I'm not opening my scissors more than this because I'm just wanting to cut the back of it. This can be a little hard for kids, so if you need your mom or dad to help you out with it, go ahead. Just the tip of the scissors. Getting right up under that back fabric. And you don't need to go as fast as me. I've done this a few times. So take your time. There we go. So this part, that's kind of come off. We don't really need it, so we can discard it. And the rest, now you have this nice little circle. What I recommend is turn it upside down, because sometimes you do cut some hair, which I did, and just try and pull it out because we don't quite want that on the gnome, right? There we go. So now it looks a little bit funny, but you can just pat it back down. Now you have your circle for where your nose is gonna go. All right, so you're gonna put that aside for now. Our glue gun should be all warmed up. So we're gonna remove the hat because we know it's a nice shape now and we know how we like it. And what we're gonna need to do is glue the body onto the gnome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our glue gun, and be careful because this does get hot. We're gonna take it and we're gonna start by putting a little bit right about there, because you want the fabric to go on top, almost at the nose. So I'm gonna take the fabric. Yeah, see, the glue can get hot, so just be careful. Take the fabric and pull it up. And make sure you're careful when you're holding it, because sometimes the socks are a bit thin and it can get through and you don't want to burn yourself. So what I'm going to do here now that that part's stuck up, I'm just going to take the glue gun and I'm going to put it all the way around just till about the half. Just like that. So now I'm going to take the fabric again and I'm just going to pull it up bit by bit and make sure it glues. So all I'm doing is I'm pulling and sticking. There you go. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. It doesn't need to be perfect because this entire spot will be covered by either the beard or by the hat. So all you're doing right now is putting enough glue to make sure that the little pajamas on your gnome are gonna stay up. That's all. So it doesn't need to look pretty, it doesn't need to be perfect. But there you go. So now my pajamas are on my gnome. It's not gonna fall off and it's nice and stuck because this part is elasticy, so it's gonna grip to there, and then this part is now glued, so it's gonna stay on. Super cute. All right, so before we put the hat, we're gonna wanna glue on the beard. The beard doesn't need a ton of glue. What I like to do is I put glue here, around, and here to start. So I'm gonna take my beard in my hand and I'm gonna glue all the way around that little area, just like that. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your gnome, you're gonna hold the beard where there's no glue, so right around there. You're gonna pull it open a little bit and you're gonna stick it right under the nose, just like that. And then you can hold it there a little bit and make sure you wait until the glue dries. When you're putting it under your nose, make sure you also put it over top of that string that was there, so it's covering it. Alrighty, that's nice and dry. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put glue along the body here so that I can push the beard down. I'll do it on this side first so you guys can see. So I'm just gonna lift it up. I can see where that black line is. I'm gonna put some glue right along the body and then I'm just gonna push the beard down. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. There we go. Look how cute he is. And then obviously you can play with the beard however you like. If you want a nice sleek beard, you can go like that. If you want a mustache, you can pull little pieces out there. And you can play around with the beard however you like. I'm gonna have him nice and flat just for now while we're finishing him up. All right, so this part is a little bit tricky, but it's not too bad. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hat, you're gonna put it on top of him again. Put it a little bit on top of his nose this time. He looks a bit funny, doesn't he? All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it up a little bit. So just roll up the edges. It's okay if it slips off the nose. So now everything's a bit rolled. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by gluing the nose first because we wanna glue this hat all the way around. So now that it's rolled, I'm gonna take my glue gun, I'm gonna put a drop of glue right at the top, and then I'm gonna glue this down. So I'm going to put a bit of glue right there, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm going to hold it on top. It doesn't need to be perfect because we're gonna have a white fluffy trim that goes around that's gonna hide any imperfections. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go, it should be rolled around the entire thing. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put glue just right under where it's rolled. So I'm gonna start here. I'm just gonna go right under. And then you're gonna unroll it right on top of that glue. And be careful because that glue is very hot. And then you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And unroll it. There you go. Now your hat is nice and glued on. However, I don't recommend picking it up from the top just in case there are some spots that are missing and we don't want it to fall. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to, so as you can see, we have this excess that's just not quite glued on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna cut that all the way around. I need a pair of better scissors. There we go. All the way around. And when you get here, be careful not to cut your beard. Just a little bit of the fabric. And you want to avoid the parts that are glued, obviously. Ta-da! All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our white fluffy trim that was provided in the kit and we're going to glue it around your gnome because you wanna hide all those little cut glued pieces. So I like to take it and start right in the middle, in the back, so right around there. So I'm gonna put a dot of glue and bring it just a little bit around, like that. So this part is hard because this is quite small and the glue can get hot, so be very careful with gluing this on. There we go, and we'll wait for that little bit to dry before we keep going. And then again, just right around the edge of the hat. It'll be easier the more of the excess that you cut off, like as close to where you glued it. So when you're going around the nose, it's important to do a little bit of a divot because you want it to droop on the nose a little bit. So I like to take the glue, go right till about there, because I want it to droop a little bit. See, like that, you want it to go a bump over the nose. So now I'm gonna glue around the nose. And then you keep going all the way around the body. All the way to the very end. All right, and then when it's at the very end, if you have any excess, you can just give it a little cut. And I'm gonna put one more drop of glue right in between so I can take the excess and just glue it up. There we go, now you have your little gnome. And then in your kit, you're gonna be provided with decorations. If you got the little add-on with the clip in the back, it might also have a string around inside of it You can either tie it to the top there, or you can take it and you can clip it. And it should have a personalized name on it. Or if you didn't get that decoration, you'll have other little ones, and all you can do is take, if there's a sticky on the back of it, is take it off or leave it on. You're gonna put some hot glue and then glue it wherever you'd like. And then you have your very own Valentine's Day gnome. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks so much for supporting Gnome for Your Home.